What's up, guys? We are Past Pop Culture. My name is Ricky with my co-host here, Mr. Fan.
Hello.
And today we're going to be going over Season 2 of Invincible. We're going to be giving our little spoiler-filled review. So, of course, if you haven't seen it, we're just going to drop a quick little review on it. I liked it. I think there was, a lot of hype for it coming in. I'm shooting from the hip. I'm going to give it 7.5.
I'll give it an 8.
To just, rip the Band-Aid off. I didn't like how they made us wait for so long.
Okay. Yep.
In between.
Okay.
Right in the middle of the season, right? I'd rather have had them push the whole thing back. And I know, so apparently there's 3 different reasons why, right? One of them was they wanted to build up the anticipation and this and that.
Didn't
and
work.
apparently it wasn't actually scheduled and there was just some production error or something like that. I don't know. And I was just I'd rather have waited. We waited a long time for it. I wouldn't have mind waiting for it. Again, it was a little bit of a slow start, especially with the way that things ended. It made sense why they had to start slow, but because we're getting so little episodes, every episode really, really counts. Mm-hmm. And then for them just to cut the momentum off halfway through at such a pivotal point, a lot of people were
myself
is this
included.
show back? What's going on? It came back? Oh, shoot. Not something that I think killed their show, but I do think if they do something like that for season 3, I think they're going to have a tough time getting away with it again. Did Amazon just say, hey, you're going to have to do this, and it was out of their hands kind of thing? I really don't know for whatever given reason why. And I'm willing to forgive it. I guess we'll go straight into the ending. Because I think that was the most prominent part. That's the part that everyone's thinking about right now. What did you just think of the way that it ended? Because it ended it ended very differently than what season 1 did. And now this one, I felt okay, it's very sad. It's very oh shoot. And so was season 1.
Okay, I can see what you're saying. I think for the ending, for me personally, the way season 1 ended, it was that really shock factor. Holy cow, his dad just absolutely killed him. Or not killed him, but destroyed him, and then he kind of flew away. He was WTF, and then when season 2 starts, it's we kind of see what happens after that, and then they even show Omni-Man's perspective, and then how they kind of showed all that, and it's hey, I'm sorry, and blah blah blah, and then you kind of see that natural progression of Omni-Man and behind the scenes, while his son is still struggling with everything, and then the ending is a complete polar opposite of season 1. He's not mad. He's not, womping on somebody. He's just I think I miss my wife. And it's I really, that's why I like season 2, because there's a lot of emotion and a lot of relationships. Mm-hmm. And you see the change of both characters, right? Invincible and his dad. And it's for it to end on that note of, the contrast from season 1 to season 2. It's just I miss my wife. And it's it ends. And then to me, for me personally, it's well, shoot. If it goes kind of this same way, maybe season 3, Invincible is going to be I haven't read the comics, right?
Yeah.
I haven't, so I'm just guessing. But maybe, season 3, Invincible goes crazy or something like that. Or Omni-Man's now a good guy or something. That's why I'm excited, because that contrast is what really hooked me in. And that's why I was I'm ready.
I think they did all the voiceover work. So I think that part's essentially
it's almost
done.
Yeah, it's almost
so
done.
Now they just have to animate it, from what I understand. Yeah. And so that's fine. I'm hoping that we get it sooner. I don't want them to rush. But I want the whole thing, just show it to me weekly. That's fine. I just don't want them to try to do that thing again. And that really upset me. But in terms of how they ended it, the only thing that I didn't like was how that he, at the last second, you had Invincible not talk to Adam Eve about what her future self told her to the current Adam Eve.
I mean,
when he was you know what? And then he's
I'm a sucker for that. In all anime, when they're obviously we can see that one person likes the other or whatever, and it's in Invincible, she says wait, tell my past self or whatever, and then he kind of looks at her and is hey, by the, and it's and it's that little tease is ooh,
yeah. You're hook, line, and sinker.
And that's again right there. It's just
I honestly, I had to get up because I was watching it again.
I face palmed because I was watching on my phone. I'm ooh, yeah, you little turd. I hate when main characters do that. But it makes you want to I had to watch more.
Yeah, and I understand why they did that, but yeah, I wish she would have said it right then and there, because then, release that tension. Because I like Adam Eve more. But I think the way they handled Invincible's relationship throughout the season was pretty good. I think they handled it a lot more mature. I like the way that they're going with this. I will watch season 3, but it's like I don't feel as hyped as I was at the end of season 1. But they are promising the return of some characters that we didn't get to see this season. It is interesting. I think the way that the story is developing, because I know you said you don't really like time travel too much, and they kind of did a little bit of that.
Yeah, I was gonna, yeah.
And it was kind of like I was getting a little bit worried there that I was like, oh no, like, oh, is this gonna open up a can of worms of time travel and stuff? Because they do have portals and there's other universes, and they had them going around and doing that.
So
and
what do you think about that? What
where
they showed?
Fortnite is canon in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. Or like when they teased Batman or whatever, right?
Or Agent Spider, whatever his name
Yeah,
is.
and I was like, oh, okay, like I get it. I really, from what I understand, I guess there is more time travel universal stuff or whatever it is. I'm not a big fan of that.
You don't need that.
I think it just makes stories a lot more convoluted, but I don't know how much more. I just understand that I think there is more from what I understand. So I may be wrong, but correct me down in the comments if there's a lot more like space or not space, but like time travel-y stuff. Yeah, because we're not the biggest fans of that. I think
it's a scapegoat.
Yeah, it tends to be a scapegoat. But I think the way they handled it right there was pretty good, where it's like, oh, we took all this time to try to rescue you. Let's go back to your proper time and everything. And then it kind of erases that timeline. And I think like, okay, that was good, where it's like it didn't get too bad.
Yeah.
But I think Omni-Man was a really good character this season. It was interesting to see him kind of like come back from all of that. And it's like...
Yeah.
It is a tough thing because it's like, well, he just killed everybody, but that felt so long ago from he just killed everybody in the show, and so like, and it was like I wasn't 100% sure, like, okay, how are they gonna win us back? And I think like, okay, especially at the end where he's like, well, I miss my wife, right? And like that delivery was so well, beautiful. And it was just like, okay, I can see the redemption coming, right? Finding all the Viltrumites and everything. What do you think about his interactions with the other Viltrumites? Is it what you expected, or
from what I understand, so like they're saying Omni-Man's like one of the strongest ones, but like I keep comparing it, like Omni-Man's like Superman, and then those are like the Kryptonians, so it's like that was pretty interesting. I am quite curious on like the rest of them because they got their butts whooped,
yeah,
and then it's like they all know each other, and then for whatever reason it's like they're like coded to take over a world or whatever, and for whatever reason him and Thaddeus, the Optimus Prime guy,
oh, okay, yeah,
the grand reveal, like
yeah, I did. That's I every time he talks I'm like, that's Optimus, man.
I mean, yeah, I mean it was cool hearing him first, like a tangent, like it was cool hearing him. I was like, oh my gosh, that's Optimus Prime and he's the leader. Well, like I like that, but like when he takes off his beard and he's like, oh, guess what, I'm one of you guys. That was a cool thing, and it's like I'm very interested in see what they do with like all of them. And
I think that's something with season 2 is like they were trying to set up so many like plot lines and everything for the future, and I think maybe that's why season 2 felt like a little rocky for me as well, is because they're trying to tease out so many ideas. And I think really once we get into like season 3 and 4, I think then it'll definitely be a lot better, because I think like season 2 had to be like a lot of like groundwork, just building out the railing. It felt like that a lot, right? Like Invincible's brother, and then even
interesting.
Yeah, that was very interesting, and I don't know, I don't know if I like that. Like, oh man, I think it's more. I'm viewing it as more like an emotional thing. Where I'm like, oh man, imagine
that's like why I really like season 2 is because it's emotional.
Yeah,
and like like you're saying, it's setting up all this groundwork. And it's like I almost feel like season 1 was the story of Omni-Man. Season 2 is kind of setting up a bunch of stuff, and then like of course you see Invincible like going through the motions and like how do I deal with it? Because like even in the intro, right? When they go, oh, you should be, and then it shows like Invincible.
Do you like that gag, that running gag?
It's okay. I kind of liked it a little bit more this season because when they showed the word Invincible, first it starts out like all black. And then slowly,
it was a little bit more clever the way they.
And then it slowly starts to chip away because it's like, oh, maybe he's becoming more normal. even though it kind of went the opposite way, which was like, well, because that's like what I thought is like, you know how it started all black, so that like that's why like I came into the season thinking like he's not dealing with it well, and so like when
like
things
it's like
are,
his mental state.
yeah, like that, yeah, like it's his mental state, and like when the cracks start happening, you know, he's losing his mind in the show. So I thought that was cool, but you know, I think like I said, like season 1, Omni Man, that's like part 1. Season 2 is like 1.5, the setup. And then part 3
actually,
is
that's
like,
a perfect way of viewing it.
and
It's
then
like
season 3 will be like part 2.
Yeah, like season 1 is definitely. I think that's why. And so essentially they did 1.25 and then they finished and then they brought in the 0.5 or 0.25 again,
numbers,
so you get the 1.5 total. And I do feel like it does definitely feel like an intermediary season to just get things going, but I don't know. We'll see what season 3. We're supposed to get it faster. I hope we do get it faster.
It better be next year.
But yeah, next year definitely. But I am curious to know what the audience reaction is to that kind of real life time skip. I guess it's like it's like, but for them blocking everything off, just to like no more episodes and this and that, and it's like it to drip feed it to us like that. It's like please serve more. But
there's no reason.
I want to know what kind of like people's opinions are in that down in the comment section. Let us know if you guys liked season 2 or not. I think like it was a good season, but let us know what you guys also thought. And then if you guys can hit the like and subscribe button, we very much appreciate that as well. And then follow us on our social medias at Past the Pop Culture, pretty much on everything. And yeah, check out the twitch.tv/pastthepopculture. Have a good one.
Bye.